Hi Libra, here is a general look at your solar chart for May 2015. There's quite a bit going on inside of you, but also there's some very outgoing, expansive energy as well. So there might be a little bit of tension, inner tension, or it might be easier to push your buttons. But as the month unfolds, that begins to change, and then it becomes much more kind of extrovert energy. It's like getting out there to do things rather than being very sort of introspective. So until the 21st, it's what I call a gear changing phase, because certain maybe expectations or setups or contracts will have to be let go of, or parts of, rethought at least. Because the deal usually with this house of the zodiac is that you've got to let certain things go, and that's the penalty really, in order to have the fresh green shoots springing up. So this is the moment for a declutter really. I mean, this is one of the ways you can use this energy, is literally go down the dump. But some things, these things are foisted upon us. And so we're not volunteering for a spring clean. We've just got to do it and have a general declutter. So it could mean that, or it could mean a more radical change to your routines, especially you Librans who are in the on the front line at the moment with the transits of Uranus and Pluto, and I'm going to tell you what they are straight away, the dates there. That would be you Librans born the 10th to the 13th of October, or with 17 to 20 degrees rising, and Pluto, for Pluto, you Librans born, first one was Uranus, the Pluto, you Librans born the 7th to the 13th of October, or with 14 to 17 degrees rising. Here, it's likely, you know, the thing is with these two together, they are creative evolvers or evolutionists. I don't even know if that's a word, but what I mean is that we live in a creative universe, and we are part of the evolving creation that's always going on. So with so much Uranus and Pluto affecting the cardinal signs, particularly for you Librans in those areas there, then your evolution is going to be speeded up. And it will be speeded up for us all because of the way you handle it. So no pressure there then. But you handle it absolutely perfectly, because you can only handle it to the measure of where we are in the creative cycle, you see. So anyway, it will all be as it should be, and all manner of things will be well. So I'm getting a little bit off my course there. So let's just come back. Now Mars, as the month begins, is also underpinning the energy of the Sun and is in the same area as the Sun. So this is a very outgoing, it's a very inward-looking area of the chart. Mars very quickly leaves there on the 12th and goes into a very outgoing area of the chart. So you really are going to do a double declutch this month. You know, as a real significant gear-changing time. Mars, since April, actually, this has been, Mars has been meaning that there's quite a lot that you're holding inside of you, maybe certain things you're keeping close to your chest, maybe having to use the energy of the fox, which is to be shrewd, which is to stay camouflaged, is to not stick your head right above the parapet. But then from the 12th onwards, there is this real kind of flinging open of the doors, and the kind of, then you are more out there and able to make decisions and get things, you know, make plans and so on. So, but just before then, there's this intensity around, there's this real intensity around. And this is a time also for debts due or owed to be repaid, hopefully, if they're owed to you, and but also to sort of settle the accounts and total up the figures, as it were, as much as we can. And also, this is a time for you to stick up for yourself, really, to be true to your own bottom line, your own values, your own value structure, but also with keeping an ear to the ground of what others' value structures are about. So this again is going to be a challenge coming at you, probably, as well as through you, of the values and the moral codes of others. Another way this Mars energy can work, especially the Mars and the Sun together, is that, and also with Venus where she is at the moment, is really hitting it off with someone. However, you've got to stand your ground with them. So yes, so there's a sort of variety and a selection of things that can be going on there. But basically, this is a spring clean time. This is a getting letting go of an old plan and starting with a new plan. It really is quite radical for some of you, particularly those of you Libra people or Libra rising born around the times that I mentioned. It can be a little bit before, it can be a little bit afterwards, because the energy is at its strongest there for your Sun, not necessarily for any of your other planets, and then kind of just gets less intense as it moves away from those degrees. Okay, so now Mercury. Well, Mercury is busy expanding your mind all month, you entertaining options outside of the box, you thinking, laterally, you thinking in a bigger kind of, you're getting the overview. You're able to get the overview and a plan or a series of plans maybe forming in your mind. It's a great area for education, or for you to be the teacher yourself, or to be getting the learning from others, the mentoring, the advice, and also for you to be giving that, because Mercury is very much the go-between, the agent, the medium between one thing and another, the guider or the guided, the informed or the informer. This Mercury's up to two things this month. In the first week, Mercury's on a bit of a go slow because Mercury is going over Saturn. So that could mean stresses and strains for you mentally. That can be a lot on your mind, mental pressures there. And then from the 19th, Mercury goes retrograde. So in the middle bit, that's okay. So between the 7th and the 19th, really. So it's almost 2 weeks. But then Mercury goes retrograde for 3 weeks from the 19th onwards. So that means there will be another time of maybe delays, hold-ups of various kinds, maybe miscommunications, sort of slow responses to things. So if it's going to be like that, then this is a good moment for you to get to grips with the minutiae of the big picture, because Mercury's in the area to do with being able to see the eagle eye view. Well, with Mercury going slow, then you come up against the itty-bitty little things, and they do say the devil's in the detail, but I say that God is in the detail as well. God gets everywhere, So you, at this time, with Mercury there, and God is a force for me. It hasn't got a gender. So this is the moment for you to get to grips with the minutiae of that bigger picture. To see the smaller in the bigger and the bigger in the smaller, to zoom out into, on Google Maps or whatever, zoom out, or rather zoom in to street view from like the view of the whole country, or the whole city or whatever. The result is that you're better informed and prepared to push through with the plan, whatever the plan is at the end of the transit of, at the end of the retrograde. So Mars and the Sun, they're in this quite introspective area where you're holding a lot within, but Mars zips out of there on the 12th and goes into this freer area, this area where you come up for air, really, even though the sun is still in there until the 21st. And then you will be more decisive, you'll be getting more emotional clarity, because before, again, emotionally you might have felt a little bit out of sorts. And that's been going on since the beginning of April, by the way, that Mars in that quite emotional, sensitive, inward-looking area comes out of there on the 12th, and then then you begin to feel that you're a bit more balanced in that regard, and this might be the right moment for you to make a decision to follow up on something, or to make a plan, or to launch into a new scheme, a new project, or go on a journey of discovery, whether that's through education or whether that's through, travel. And then the Sun goes into the same area as Mars is in on the 21st. So you've got Mars in there on the 12th, and then the Sun in there on the 21st, into this very expansive area, which can raise the spirits, can give you a real boost, and tends to teach you lots of new stuff. Again, this is the learning through doing. So as you're going along, you're picking up little nuggets of information, you're learning the lessons. Humanity is not very good at learning the lessons of the past, or even the lessons of last week, which is still the past, I grant you, but we tend to forget very easily. This will give you the opportunity to be learning as you're going along, taking note of things, picking up on the vibe, picking up to what's new on the block, that kind of thing, but also travel, distant horizons, and communications, promotions, beating the drum on something, putting the information out there, but also being the student as well, and others seeing you as maybe the one who's got the knowledge, you can help them. From the 8th, Venus is helping to create more favorable circumstances with authority figures. So Venus starts off in the area to do with connecting with others who are in a faraway land, maybe, or just far away from you in another sense. Maybe not so much in their status, but maybe in the area, the field that they're in, their expertise, their specialist knowledge. So this gives really nice, good, friendly, warm feeling of relating with them, and that would have been coming in from the middle of April and comes out on the 8th of May. And you will be valuing their input, what the knowledge they have is like, that's just the bit of the puzzle I needed. But also they could be valuing you for your input, for you providing them with a piece of the puzzle. And very much this is communicating across a great distance as well, in a friendly kind of way, in a bonding sort of kind of a way. Publications or education is also strongly emphasized. And also there's something lucrative about people coming from or at a far location for you as well. But then from the 8th, Venus moves out of there and moves into your career area, which is just great, because that means that these new potentials, these new plans, this clearer way ahead that you can see now from the 12th, and particularly from the 21st as well, that Venus is very much going to help you create good liaisons with others, even if they are, a bit difficult, or it's to do with bureaucracy, or it's to do with rules and regulations, officials, that kind of thing. You still will be able to at least strike up some kind of minimal social kind of rapport with them. The likelihood is, anyway. And you can feel, that balancing energy of Venus, even though they are socially, or in other ways, above you, or you feel they are above you or not. And you yourself could be the one who takes a firm but friendly stand and helps out somebody else. So it's very much like that. Now, Saturn is, yes, before I go into that, there's a couple of other transits across Saturn. Mars opposes Saturn in the beginning of the 3rd week for about 3 days, 3-4 days there. So that could cramp your style a bit, slow things down a bit, drain your energy a bit. So be aware of that. And then the Sun opposes Saturn in the first half of the last week as well, and makes things a little bit more serious, a little bit less fun, a little bit more challenging, so be aware of that as well. Saturn is challenging to you in general. This is a much longer transit, although I have to say that it's not now, because Saturn's about to move out of that position in June, not this month, but June. But at the moment, Saturn, which will come back into there as well, Saturn will come out of there in June and go back in September and be there till 2017. So you need to know about this if you haven't heard this before. But you should be developing your communication skills, your people skills. Saturn is in Sagittarius, and so this is an area for you to do with the way you're coming across to others. It puts more pressure on you at times. It means that you are subject to deadlines, more lists, or maybe framing things in a way which others can understand, even though you are not completely in touch with it yourself. You've just got to learn. You could also at this time be developing yourself through education, your people skills, your writing skills, your speaking skills, also your creative expression, so through the arts. Yeah, and also having to be at certain places at certain times as well, is more likely with Saturn there. You Librans born the 23rd to the 27th of September, or with 0 to 4 degrees rising, going to feel that energy the most. Working hard at promotional type activities as well, media and the like, working harder at those things. And then until next August, Jupiter is going to help you to grow and learn through new associations and friendships within a collective of others. There's a huge potential working with or through or for a collective, whether it's a series of collectives or series of groups, or if it's the mainstay one. You know, cultivating people. New friends, colleagues, those with a shared outlook will expand your mind and your world over this phase. And others could look to you as the guide, as the enabler, as the teacher, and be valuing your and learning from your experience as well as the other way around. You Librans born the 5th to the 9th of October with 12 to 17 degrees rising, going to feel that energy the most. And I just want to say that there is a stunningly good aspect going on between Jupiter and Uranus. They're coming a little bit further apart this month, and they're going back together again in from the second half of June, although they're still in orb, as we say in the trade. Yeah, and that could, the sort of bouncing off each other, there's huge potential there, but maybe going along a track that you didn't think of before, really pushing the boundaries with this one, because a little bit of fairy dust with it, a little bit of luck could come your way, as long as you lock on to the right bandwidth in your thinking. That's kind of almost the best way I could put it, or how I understand it myself. But you know, it's like that song, Turn Your Radio On, but it's not just turn your radio on, it's get it on the right bandwidth, you see. There's quite a choice. So, and just stay on that frequency, because Jupiter and Uranus are have got together like that pretty infinite potential. And you can make amazing progress through new initiatives and going along a new taking a new tack. It will get, so if you're already kind of coming around to it a bit this month, then as they come together next month, then maybe you could really start seeing some start seeing the fruit that coming from that. It is quite a long range one, but still there's no reason why you shouldn't start getting little sort of hints of that energy. And amazing. It is amazing, that energy, and it doesn't come around that often. That's it for May. If you know your rising sign or your moon sign, listen to those. And also, this is the bones of this, the basics of this is written up on my website, so have a look at that. And I'll see you the next time.